Derek Vaughan, Labour MEP for Wales. Agreement has been reached on this £1.1 billion for Wales from the European Union. What's your reaction? The Welsh Government talk about it creating jobs and opportunities for Wales.
Well, it's good news that the Welsh Government have agreed the Welsh operational programmes with the Commission. These operational programmes will include what actions and projects can be funded in Wales, so it's good news, particularly when you look at England. It looks like their operational programmes won't be signed until June next year. But ours are signed now, which means the Welsh Government can start taking bids for projects and hopefully start funding projects as soon as possible.
What kind of funding can we see? What kind of projects can we expect to see get this money this time? And what kind of difference do you hope it can make, given there have been problems in the past?
Well, the operational programme has been agreed for the ERDF, which is European Regional Development Fund, and this is the money which goes to fund things such as infrastructure projects and town centre developments. So I would guess that this money will now be spent on that type of project. Right across Wales, there are many projects which need funding. You know, lots of our town centres are regenerating, and there are still many infrastructure projects which need funding.
UKIP make the point that this money originally comes from the UK government. They call it recycled money through the EU, and they're very much against regional funding. What's your argument that you support this money coming from the European Union?
Well, some people do make the argument that the EU is just giving us back our own money. But of course, when you look at the figures from Wales, they make it clear that Wales is a net beneficiary of EU funds to the tune of £200 million a year. In other words, we get £200 million a year more than we put into the EU budget, which is good news for Wales. And of course, it's important we get this money as well. We are still, unfortunately, one of the more deprived areas of Europe, and that's what this money is aimed at. So I'm sure the Welsh Government and all the partners and stakeholders will want to put this money to good use to make sure this money is used to benefit the economy, communities and individuals.
I mean, this money is designed to do exactly as you say, to help Wales out of its poor economic record, one of the worst regions in Europe when you look at the figures. Given how much money Wales has had up till now, and we're talking about billions of pounds, it's failed in a way, really, hasn't it? Because it hasn't achieved that dream. It hasn't got Wales out of the doldrums that it is in economically.
Well, in the past we received large amounts of EU funds, and I think there's a widespread recognition that maybe in the past we've funded too many smaller projects and not enough big projects which will have an economic impact. And I think the Welsh Government have learned that lesson, so I would think that more of the money will now be spent on these large infrastructure projects. And I would also say, in terms of the previous money we received, what would Wales be like without it? We've received billions of pounds in the past, and although we have a long way to go, the economy in Wales is recovering, and I do believe that EU funding is helping with that recovery.
Just briefly, finally, have you had any insight into the projects, into particular projects that you think might now get money? What lies ahead, do you think? What do you hope might get funding in the future? You say concentration on big projects might be the way to go.
Well, a number of projects are already in the pipeline. I know the Welsh Government and many other stakeholders have been working hard to put together projects. So once we have the OK, and the OK has been given now, we can start processing the projects and okaying them and funding them. So projects are in the pipeline. And of course, what we've had agreed so far is the ERDF money, which is for infrastructure. Next, we will get an approval of the European Social Fund money, and that will go into many of the training schemes and apprenticeships we have across Wales.